Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and it is May 23rd, YC126, and this is the Eve Universe Show! Welcome, welcome, welcome. How's it going, guys? Settle on in, get your coffee. Double points is if it's in a Malro mug or a Convocation of Empyreans mug. Haha, get those probably below somewhere. Anyway, hi, guys. Okay. On Tuesday, we had a stream and we talked about the new SKINR system and its dev blogs. And I said that on Thursday, we're going to have the live stream from CCP, which we did have. As you can see, I have it queued up right here. But then I woke up this morning, or like this morning when I was getting ready, my son has a headache this morning and like is not feeling well. So I kept him home, which normally that can interfere with my streams and all that sort of stuff. So my plan was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just do some editing or something like that instead today. And then I watched the stream, and most of the stream was great. I was very excited about it. But then there was something that stood out to me, and it frustrated me so much that I needed to go live today so that way I can rant about it. Partially because I want to get it out there and draw attention to it. And partially, mostly, because I'm really hoping that someone is going to show me where I am wrong with this. Because I don't want it to be true, okay? But I still think that the SKINR system is going to be great. I'm really excited for its future. Don't think anything like that. But I do... CCP has a tendency to sometimes mess things up at the last second and not stick the landing on otherwise great ideas. And I am concerned that this has the potential of doing that. But before we jump into that, I do want to go over some of the news just really quick. There is a 40% MCT on the NES sale going on, so you can do multi-character training for 40% off. This is, you know, like normally they have like or they used to. I don't know if they do it as much anymore. Like every 3 months they would do a thing where you buy 3 months of Omega and you get 3 months of MCT. This is, I don't remember if they've been doing that very much. But this is saying that rather you can get 40% off of multiple character training on the New Eden store from the 23rd to 28th of May. So the difference here is that this is in-game, right? This is, so that other deal that I was talking about, whenever they package multi-character training with something like Plex, or with like Omega or whatever, that training is applied to your account automatically, right? There's a difference between multi-character training, which is the actual second slot for training where you can train on an alt, and multiple character training certificates, which are the physical item that you can sell on the market, and people can use in order to activate a multiple character training for a month, right? And so most of the time when they have these sort of sales or packages or deals or whatever, it is just direct application. And that always gets some people. But this time what they're saying is that it's the actual certificates in the NES, which is kind of cool. So if you have some extra Plex, which you should not be spending your extra Plex. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But if for some reason you do need to have multiple character training, maybe you want to train up your new PI alt in preparation for Equinox, this is a good opportunity to do so. In addition to that, today is the first strike of Vanguard. We talked about the details of this on Tuesday. I was actually going to show off some of the play of this today, but like I said, I want to keep this stream as short as possible so I can get back to my son. So probably not going to do that today, but we will be doing it tomorrow, right? Okay, so, you know, make sure to get in there, and the two tasks are to get 10 clones as a group and mine 750 units of inert alloy and 250 units of reactive alloy as an individual. Like I said, we talked about the details yesterday. So all that said, Equinox in focus. Now, I speculated quite a bit on Tuesday on some of the details, and today we got several pieces of information that confirm and oddly reject the the assumptions that I had. So first of all, hold on, where's my notes? I do recommend, I'm not going to go over all the details here today because I want to get to my points. So I do recommend, if you haven't already, make sure to watch the Equinox in Focus stream that CCP put out, or the one I put out on Tuesday, preferably both. And then, whatever. But so the biggest thing is that in here it says that the base value that they're building off of is Plex, right? And it shows here 110 Plex, and it shows these binders. Now, I thought, I assumed that what this meant was that these binders were going to be purchased on the Plex store, and so this would be the Plex value of these binders. That was wrong. This Plex cost is the cost to sequence it. The binders are separate. So you're going to have to accumulate these binders either by finding them in game or login rewards or however else you get them. You have to get all the proper binders per copy and pay the Plex based on the complexity of the skin. Now, there is one thing that was confusing to a lot of people, which is that there are unlimited use colors and patterns, and there are limited use colors and patterns. Unlimited use colors and patterns are the ones that require sequence binders and Plex in order to use. If a skin has limited uses, or sorry, if a component has limited uses, that effectively means that the cost has already been paid in however it was acquired. And therefore, it doesn't cost extra to make a skin with it, right? That's at least my understanding of it at this time. So, if you get a super rare skin pattern or something like that, and you go to apply it, you don't have to then spend even more to put it on. However, they did show, like this picture here, I didn't notice, this is actually the market. So these prices down here isn't the cost to apply them, although technically I guess they are. They are the cost to purchase them, okay? And as you can see, all of them say 3 up here. It's probably too small for you to see it, but there's a 3 in the upper right-hand corner, and they've confirmed that at this time, all of the things that are purchased on the Paragon Hub sold by CCP for Plex will have 3 uses. So you'll be able to synthesize 3 different skins with this with a single component. Now that I think about it, I don't know if that means that you can sequence a bulk of them, or if you're limited, like if I have one of these, can I only sequence 3 in a bulk, or can I sequence 10 of them at a time 3 times or something like that? More likely the first one. But yeah, we also learned a little bit more about bulk stuff as well. But the point is that like you will pay the cost one way or another. So if you buy these things with Plex, then when you apply it to a ship or a skin design, it doesn't cost more Plex after that. It's only if you're using the unlimited ones that costs extra to do, or at least that's my understanding at this point. And then, oh boy, where was it? There's another piece to this. Wasn't there? I don't remember. All right. Well, so they also, I mean, like they did show off quite a bit. I love this joy of painting thing. They showed a lot of customization that they could do. I'll just let this play in the background a little bit. Let me rewind it to the beginning. So yeah, you can see that here he's perusing the store and choosing what skins what elements he wants, or components. Actually, it says design elements that he wants to buy, so he can kind of look through those. I find it odd that you can't necessarily preview them, or maybe you can, but I don't see, when he clicked on one, I don't see it on the ship itself. Well, I'll get to that in a second, Space Ghost. They also confirmed that they said that there are 2 patterns that we are going to get unlocked at first, and that would be, I think they said the racing stripe, but I do know that the fade effect. So that way it's from one color to another. So like this one right here that they're playing with, this fade effect is one of the default ones that you start with. Okay, so he's kind of showing off some of the ways that this thing works. Now that does mean it's an unlimited one, so sequencing with it will cost Plex. Yeah, you can't change the colors of the lights in the first version of SKINR. That's true, and there's going to be extra things too. The other thing is that like SKINR is only one layer of the design, right? Like, for instance, you have logos and like Corp and Alliance logos and the other stuff that you might be able to get with Evermarks, right? Those are on top of it. So I would actually prefer to see that like custom lights with something like Evermarks, but it might be just part of the skin as well. It would kind of suck that like, oh, we have to go back and remake all of our skins because we want these new things that we didn't have before, like custom lights. But that's only part of the wonkiness that we've seen so far. I do want to address the biggest question. So like a lot of people in the chat, the number one thing was that like people were angry because they saw this as a cash grab because of the fact that it costs Plex to sequence, and it actually, like, when you are sequencing, it takes several days to sequence, potentially, or at least 2 or whatever, reducible by skills, but you can also speed up the sequencing with Plex. And that triggered a lot of people because of like very mobile free-to-play, right? Speed up, you know, pay money to complete this now. But I don't necessarily think it's that bad. And I think that it has to do with the reason why this is all happening. You got to remember, like, that time exists. It's just like manufacturing. Why does manufacturing take time? Well, manufacturing takes time because that way there is a gap of time between you noticing a hole in the market and wanting to supply it and your ability to actually produce the thing and get it on market. So that makes it so that like the markets are a bit more dynamic and interesting. And in the same way, you know, if somebody does want to rip off your skin, at the very least, it'll take them a couple of days to be able to do so. The archive video is in the links down below, along with everything else. Now, what's the issue here? I mean, not really. So, but I do want to answer 2 questions. They're kind of related. Why Plex and why not Evermarks? These are 2 related but different questions with different answers. So why Plex? Well, it's real simple. Right now, most of the skins that people get are from the NES store, which is the Plex market, right? So the issue here is that if somebody gets a, let's say, basic skin for their Executor, then it costs them maybe 110 Plex, right? But these skins are going to mostly replace those NES skins. There'll still be reasons to buy CCP skins, but let's be frank, there's a lot of skins that will either no longer be purchased because you could just recreate them in SKINR, or, you know, whatever. So it's important that there still is a Plex cost to have the skins come into existence, because the actual economics of CCP is built around that. It would be so challenging as like a game designer to convince like corporate that like not only are we not going to make money off of this feature, but we're going to actively destroy the monetization potential of one of our major monetization methods in the game. Like, that's nonsense. So they have been clear that the cost to sequence these skins will be equivalent to, or maybe even a little bit less from what I saw, of the equivalent skins on the NES store. So this isn't new Plex required, and it isn't like some sort of cash grab, because this is always how Plex, you know, Plex was always how we got skins, right? The difference here is that like, well, now there's going to be more options. Like if this increases the amount of plex that gets spent, it's because there are more skins that are more desirable, right? Like how many times have I been in a ship where I would love to have a good skin with it, but all of the skins that are out for it are crap, right? Or whatever. So the fact that there are more things to entice you will cause people to buy more skins. And in that sense, there's going to be an increase in plex demand. But that would be the same as if they had just come out with like the perfect skin for the plex for the NES that causes everybody to want to buy it. Like that would be basically the equivalent, right? Because it's just new skins for the same plex, right? So that's a piece of it. But the other half of this is Evermarks. Why not Evermarks? Well, here's the thing about Evermarks, okay? One of the key goals of Evermarks, one of the things that makes Evermark work, one of the only reasons why Evermarks exists is because it's designed to reward people in a non-ISK related way, right? The problem is that prior to Evermarks, everything that CCP wanted to reward you with basically had some sort of ISK value. And therefore, everything that you don't do Dead Space sites for Dead Space modules. You do Dead Space sites to sell Dead Space modules to get ISK. You know, a lot of people mine ore in order to sell it to make something else. Everything, or at the very least, you know, why mine Veldspar? Your ISK per hour is so much better doing X. You might as well do X and then with the money buy the ore that you want, right? Like we hear this all the time. So the fact that every single activity in EVE can be distilled down to how much ISK is it worth is one of the more toxic things about the game historically. So Evermarks was designed to be this thing that has no monetary ISK value, period. You cannot ever transfer Evermarks into some sort of value on the market. You can't transfer it to anybody, and nothing you can buy with Evermarks is something that can be transferred to anybody. And that was a critical piece to Evermarks. And thus, since these things eventually become stuff that you can sell and transfer, that's probably why they can't work with Evermarks as being one of the major ways of buying this stuff. Although, you know, like even like a component, right? Like the thing would be like, oh, well, why can't you at least buy components? Well, because then you could, in theory, turn Evermarks into ISK. Why would I spend Evermarks on a logo, which isn't worth anything, when I could use it to buy a special color that I could then use in a skin that I can then sell for ISK? You see what I'm saying? So it's very important for Evermarks to be sealed off, that it never, ever, ever can be turned into some sort of actual market value. So that's why no Evermarks. Okay. Enough bullshit. Like I said, I don't have very much time today. So let's talk about what my problem is. Okay. We've got enough people here. We've gone over some of the good stuff. The skins, by the way, are beautiful. I really like a lot of the options. None of that's the problem. Here's my problem. When this thing was, in fact, actually, let me go look real quick. Let me go read this real quick. I haven't even, I need to remember. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah. An integral part of the skin experience is a Paragon hub, providing a platform to showcase designs and find the ideal look for your fleet. Right? And it says, the possibilities are vast, from adorning your own ships to strengthening the collective identity of your corporation or fleet to embarking on a new career in New Eden. Okay? This is my problem. The design, like one of the things that this whole thing was sold on was the idea that we could create a skin and then like just have it be for all of our fleet. So all of our fleet could be in some sort of uniform, or all of our corporation could be in some sort of uniform. Now they have suggested that the corporation sharing tools and stuff like that will be coming out later, but I'm not caring about that. No. This isn't about whether or not the design tools are available for corps or alliances. Okay. Here's the thing. I don't even care about the fact that, so now I have to pay, you know, let's say I have a skin that's worth 110 plex to synthesize. I have to pay 110 plex per skin that I have to synthesize. So if I want to get 10 of those skins, because I'm going out, you know, I have my buddies, we're going out on a Drek fleet, right? So I'm going to build my design for the direct fleet, and I'm going to pay the Plex to print out 10 of them. It is in that moment that the problem begins. The thing is that these things, once synthesized, are not physical objects. Therefore, they cannot be sold on the market. They cannot be sold on contracts. They cannot be traded. Which brings to level 1. The only way, according to CCP on the stream today, the only way to transfer these skins from one person to another is through the Paragon Hub. Okay, so that's weird. Already, if I want to distribute it to my fleet, I can make these 10 copies, but then I have to go through this extra step of being like, oh, I've put them on the Paragon Hub. Everybody go grab them on the Paragon Hub and then apply them. Oh, wait. Problem 2. CCP said on the stream today, there is no search function on the Paragon Hub. So even if I put them on the Paragon Hub, how the hell would people find them? How would this not become a giant pain in the butt, right? That's a problem. Already, we have completely undermined the entire purpose of this feature, right? You can make personal ones, you can sell them, whatever, but this idea of a cohesive identity is completely lost already. But this problem becomes super shitty when you hit problem 3. If we go look at here, let's say I want to make sure. No. The hub is actually a new UI. Everybody has access to it. It's like the HyperNet or something like that, right? So it's not like a physical location you have to travel to. But the problem here is that where is it? Do they show it here? Or is it only in this video? So my solution is, okay, great. So my solution to the problem is that I'm going to charge a bunch of ISK, or, I'm going to put up a skin that's clearly worth 110 Plex, and I'm going to sell it for 300 Plex, right? Because that way nobody will buy it. And then I can just give the people in my fleet the 300 Plex, so then the only people that are buying it are the people in my fleet. Problem kind of solved. They still can't search for it, but at least I can make sure that somebody, if I put it up for free, then there is a chance that somebody will snap up one of them before my fleet mates manages to get one, especially if they can't search for them, right? So I have to put them at some sort of cost to make sure that only my fleet members want to go after it. But if you look on this picture here, it's kind of hard to see. Hold on. I don't know if you can see this. Actually, here we go. There's a 30% SKINR service fee and a 2 million ISK hub listing cost. So if I'm charging 10 Plex, I only get 11 Plex back, or 7 Plex back. If I charge 10 Plex, I get 7 Plex. So even if I wanted to do this method of charging too much in order to allow my own people to be able to buy it, I am dumping 30%. I'm just trashing it completely just to be able to transfer it. This is absolutely absurd. Those 3 problems together make this feature lose so much of its luster for me. Now, they have said that some of this stuff is going to get fixed sooner rather than later, but releasing it in this state, unless I don't get it, man. Unless one of those 3 things, unless one of those 3 assumptions is false, I think that this feature is going to cause a lot of angst when it releases. Once more people realize that this is the case, there's going to be a lot of not very happy people. So at the very least, so here's the thing. Like I said, it can't be a physical object, whatever. But one of 3 things needs to happen, right? One, hold on. Actually, now that I look at it. Yeah, no, there's no visibility. So either there needs to be a visibility drop down or something. So that way I can make it so that my custom skin is only available to my corporation or fleet or whatever. So that way they can get it. Or be able to transfer a skin ownership to someone without using the hub, right? Otherwise, this entire functionality of using it as a fleet identity is completely destroyed. And that sucks. CCP, and the reason why I'm so anxious about this is because CCP, while they have been on a roll recently, do have a historical tendency to create really great ideas for really great features and completely fail to stick the landing. So a good example to this would be Resource Wars, where they came out with these new like mining challenges where the faster you did it, the more money you were rewarded with. We call them mining blitz now, which as of right now, there's no mining blitzes coming in the game. But like back when we had events, they happened during the monthly caps, like the Empire's birthdays, basically. Assuming they could bring it back at any time. But when they first came out with the Resource Wars, the skins that were available were volatile skins, which made them, and they made it so that volatile skins were bind on pickup, which completely ruined the value of any of it, made it so that like buying things on the LP store was literally a scam, basically, because so in order to so problem one was that it was volatile, but in order to deal with that, by the way, volatile means that when the ship was destroyed, like if you had the skin on and your ship was destroyed, you lost access to the skin. You had to get another copy of it. And that would have been fine, except for it was also bind on pickup. So you would have had to actually do Resource Wars yourself. Our plan was like to have our high-sec corporation do Resource Wars and farm these skins, and so that way we could give them or sell them to our Faction Warfare Corp that could then use it for our corp identity. Because fleet identity was a thing for us even back in like 2016 or whatever when this was happening. But by making it bind on pickup, now our Faction Warfare guys, who are mostly not allowed in HiSec, would have to go to HiSec to do the Resource Wars stuff. And so we couldn't do it. Our HiSec people didn't see any value in it. Because of the fact that they came with volatile skins, they had to come with a ship with that volatile skin. And because those ships were literally just magically introduced into the game, they had to cost more than they were worth. So at this point, they're now selling, or at that point, they were selling like 110 million ISK Megathron. Yes. Okay. Let's use today numbers. 330 million ISK Megathron. I think that's probably about right. No. They had to spend, like let's say 200. So, a 200 ISK Megathron normally on the market, they had to sell it for 250 million. Which meant CCP's LP store for Resource Wars was like literally scamming people, where it would cost you more ISK plus LP in order to buy the thing than the thing was worth. And so basically, if you didn't value that particular volatile skin as like $30 to $50 million for yourself, then it was completely not worth it to you. And lo and behold, the feature died. Now, when they brought it back and made it so that those skins were not volatile and were tradable, guess what? A lot of people loved it, and it was very popular when they did it. That one decision, the bind on pickup of the skins, destroyed that feature single-handedly, an otherwise great feature. And I'm afraid that we are dangerously close to doing that again. Because the thing is that there's a lot of people that have thoughts in their mind about what this SKINR system's potential is. And now there are some people that might think that, oh, well, we can just change the lighting, and it turns out you can't. Well, that's a kind of false assumption. But CCP has straight up told us that this is for creating cohesive identities, and the feature simply doesn't support it. And that sucks. So, yeah, that's my big thing. Now, besides that, like I said, there's a lot going on that's really, really good about this system. First of all, the skins that you can make, as you can see here, here's a nightmare that they were working on. This is beautiful, and the issue here, so one of the things that people keep bringing up is, well, what's going to stop somebody from just replicating your skin? Well, because either you're using rare limited components, in which case they would have to have the same rare limited components to make a copy of it, or they have to pay Plex 2. So the cost to sequence these things individually will, in addition to making sure that CCP's monetization doesn't collapse, will ensure that that just simple duplication of the skins may not necessarily be like the answer. It also means that like there's going to be a weird balance, right? Between like, so if you see, I sequenced the skin for 110 Plex. There's a 30% fee. So let's say I can't sell it for less than 200 Plex for, I can't sell it for less than 200 Plex without like feeling good about it, right? I'm kind of taking a loss otherwise. Then if someone sees it on the market for 200 Plex, they could just make the decision to recopy it. Now, the defense here is that A, it'll still cost them 110 Plex, so they save 90 Plex, right? B, they have to actually recreate it, which means they have to look at your skin and, do the little fiddling to get it right, which, obviously you've given them inspiration, so it's a lot easier than just creating it whole cloth. But at the same time, like, you're spending all of your design effort just copying somebody else. And then on top of that, you still have to pay to sequence it. And that sequencing will take, 2 to 4 days or whatever to finish. So if you want the skin now and you don't want to go through the bullshit of building it, then you're going to pay the skin on the the guy on the skin on the market. Also, the skins that are manufactured, it says who made the skin. So, if, for instance, getting an Ashtarothi skin is important to you, then, even if you replicate it, it won't say that it's made by Ashtarothi, and that might be worth something to you. So there's a lot of inherent value that can be put in, which will make it so that people will buy them, even though technically speaking, they could recreate it themselves. But what this does is it makes it so that there is also a certain cap, right? Because you have to justify the value. Also, what stops them from spreading the rumor that you were the one that stole it? Nothing. And that is so Eve. I love it. I don't know. Maybe there should be a created by date, a copyright date. There is no copyright law in New Eden. So, yeah. Any rate, like, so there is an inherent balance there, but that balance is in the perceived value of the work, creativity, and convenience of getting that skin on the hub right now, right? And I think that that is interesting. That's fine. That actually could theoretically work. Now, I think that the best solution out of all of this is to significantly reduce the tax, like that 30% tax. Whew, I hope that's a stand-in. If that was 5 or 10% tax, then basically that tax basically becomes a minimum requirement, right? So 110 Plex. So then I have to sell it for at least 140, 150, or else I'm literally throwing Plex away. Is this the first thing with this sort of Plex? Well, it's the first time with any sort of Plex-related transactions between players at all. So yes. Right? There's never been a thing where it's like, I want to sell this on the market or whatever, and I will only accept Plex and payment. Like, that doesn't exist in the game so far. So yeah, all other market transactions have tax, but there is no Plex market transactions or market transactions using Plex as the medium up until now. So this would be the first time that there is a Plex tax. So it is also worth noting that while the skin components may be limited, the skins that are made from them are not. These are not volatile skins or anything like that. Once you've made the skin and you have it applied, it's yours forever, right? Impersonation is against the toss. That would be Yeah, that's actually true, Space Ghost. So if you actually make a character or if you do a thing that attempts to actually impersonate somebody, especially if it's a CCP member, but I think they've expanded it to be effectively anybody who's well known. You know, if I just made a guy who was named Rick Javix, but I replaced the I with an L or something like that, and then went around telling people that I was Rick Javix and saying donate to me because I'm doing the frigate free for all, like that is actually against the rules. So yeah. But now that I think about it, that's actually a really funny thing. You know, if now I wonder, could somebody become so popular as a skin designer that other people make characters that look like it's the same name, so that way it looks like they're the popular skin designer? That'd be kind of cool. But hold on, this goes back to my fucking thing, right? Okay, I am a content creator, right? Like, oh, as a content creator, we do giveaways. That's not allowed. Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, what I'm saying is that I wonder if it'll get to the point where somebody's actually incentivized to do that. Not that they're allowed to do that, but like even if somebody would want to do it. So I'm a content creator. As a content creator, I like to do giveaways and I like to do, well, actually not me, but content creators like to do giveaways and stuff like that of different, you know, skins or other stuff like that, right? I instinctively want to give away or do skins that are like, this is my skin line. Here, we could even, here, let's design a skin on stream, right? We're going to design a skin on stream. We're going to have a whole thing where we design a skin together. And then I'm going to sequence it. And then I'm going to give it to the person who wins the, oh, wait, I can't give it to an individual. You see my problem? Do you see my problem? This, like, the idea of mandating the hub as a point of transfer just does not work for me. Does not work for me. You're gonna have to be able to transfer it. I need to be able to type in a person's name, hit enter, and send it to them. And Lord God, don't let that cost Plex too. So yeah. Skin experts will be needed to recognize a genuine Ashtarothi from a fake. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wait, this Ashtarothi has a 0 instead of an O. Fake. Yeah, the skins once applied are permanent. This does feel like a big fumble. Yeah, they've said that they want to, you know, they're going to add these extra things. They you know, the corpse transfer features or like sharing features. Even the fact, like, the corpse sharing features will get halfway to fixing it, right? At least I can, like, make a design and then everybody can sequence off of the design. Yeah. Ashtaroth. Instead of Rolex, it's Rolox. So, you know, like, when the corp sharing tools are put in, then at least everybody in the corp could synthesize from the same design. But, like, again, I just feel like CCP has kind of missed the whole point of their own features. Either way, let me know down below in the comments. Am I right? Am I wrong? Are you excited for this feature? Do you not care about this feature? You know, oh, there is also another thing I want to talk about, which is like the idea of like, well, hey, wait, Ashtarothi, not all the skins come from the Plex store, right? There's plenty of skins that can be gotten through events and even killing certain rats and LP stores. What about those sources? Well, the key here is that in those cases, you could just replace those skins with SKINR components that have limited uses, and then you have the exact same thing, right? Because once you, if I get, like, if I have, say, the biosecurity skin, right? The biosecurity skin is pretty simple. Hold on. Just in case people don't know it. Let's pick a good one. Deimos. I think the Deimos will probably be a good one. So, if you think about this from a skinning point of view, right? all we have here is a kind of grayish base, and this blue part with the hex end is just a pattern projected onto it. You can tell because around in certain places the pattern gets stretched as it was projected against the ship model, and that's just a consequence of it. We're going to have to deal with that sort of bullshit too. But if you think about it, instead of dropping or giving the biosecurity skin, they could just give this pattern. So then you could make this skin, but you could make it blue, you could make it yellow, you could do whatever you want with, and you can make this side red or whatever like that, right? And and then once again, once you synthesize, synthesize, I can't remember the exact word for it, but once you go to create the skin, the use of this pattern won't cost anything additional. Now, if you use basic colors that have unlimited use, you will have to pay for that. But just the base recolors did not seem like it cost very much in the video, right? I think that they showed it when they had like only one color change, and it was like 40 plex, right? So, oh, hold on, I got to get back to here. I got to show you this. This is really cool. Where's did they already show it? Oh yeah. So this is really cool. Check it out. You can actually see the reflection of the trace cosmos on the metallic gold. Oh my gosh, that's actually really sick. 40 plex is still a fair bit. Yeah, but given the fact that a base skin is 110 usually. But if you used limited time colors, like if you collected colors too, then you could theoretically make it for free. So let's see. So like the more fancy ones are more expensive, but let's see, price descending. Oh my gosh, keep going. So yeah, a scorpion blackbird ghostbird skin, which is literally just white, basically, is 110 plex. So it'd be more equivalent to these recolors, where this is only 50 plex. Now they did say that cheaper, like smaller ships will be cheaper, just like they are here. In general, like a cruiser skin and a frigate skin. Wait, these are literally the same cost. Like there's a frigate, there's a cruiser, there's a battle cruiser. Well, look, man. See, Dominic's Serpentis skin, 110 plex. But the Algo Serpentis skin is only 50 plex. So, yeah, a lot of the skins now are mid. That's true. And that's the real reason why people are going to be spending a lot more plex, is just because there's better skins to spend plex on. Not that this is a new source of spending plex. You've already bought, people have already been buying skins for plex. It's just now that there are good looking skins, then, there's going to be more people buying them. So yeah, it's definitely going to take some balancing and some detail, like the devil's in the details, of course. But like the things that a lot of people were talking about, I don't think are actually that big of a problem, or at the very least, there's really good reason for them to be that way. But as I said, like, in my opinion, the glaring flaw that I pulled out of this stream was, how do I give the skin to a person that I want to give it to, instead of just selling it on the market? That's going to be my big one. Let's see. Do they show? Yeah, so this skin This frigate skin that has 3 different colors in use costs 110 plex to make. This skin that only has 1 color in use only costs 40 plex to make. This nightmare that okay, so 1 color on the nightmare and 1 pattern on the nightmare, 90 plex. Let's actually look back. This is a good example of one. Mostly because he does it really quick. Okay, so here's the nightmare. The first thing I notice is that nightmare has a 30 plex cost without doing anything to it. So that seems to imply that I'm kind of wrong. Even if you had 100% components that you have picked up from somewhere that's limited use, it would still cost you 30 plex to synthesize this, that skin, which, I get that they don't want good skins on the nightmare, but that seems like unfortunate to me. Let's actually see if what the other ship says at the beginning. Do they? I think they don't show that. Hold on. Can we see one of these things before they start adding anything to it? Yeah. So the Hurricane is also 30 plex. So there's basically a base cost of 30 plex plus what it costs to use it. And I get it now. Okay, so if you see here, like, this is a limited use, 3 times use for 10 plex. And then when they used it on it as an unlimited use, it costs 10 extra plex. So actually buying it this way is theoretically 3 times cheaper than using an infinite one, potentially. But yeah, like this one that uses two recolors, probably these 2 are 2 basic recolors, and therefore it's 20 plex, which is why this is 50 plex. See if we can... What? So he buys this for... Okay, so never mind. So he bought this one, and then he can use it here, and it's 90 plex. That's probably because... Yeah, he's got the pattern and everything else, too. And then... Hold on. So it's 90 plex. Let's watch what happens when it turns to... How it turns to 110. Oh. He changes the material. So it goes from yellow. When he changes it from yellow to pink or whatever, or red, that one was a unlimited use, maybe? Or a more premium one? It is that red, and if we saw the red before, if I think I saw it right on the market, red is like that red is the one of the higher tier colors. Yeah. Bottom line, these skins look absolutely sick, or at least have the potential to look sick, but the devils is going to be in the detail. How expensive are these components? How are they generated? So they just make up the price. Yeah, so each SKINR component is going to have its own cost if it is unlimited use in order to use it. But you can also buy components on the Paragon Hub. So that's what they're like. That's that part here. Not that, but... Gosh darn it, where is it? Does he ever go buy it? I thought, yeah. So there he is buying that pink, right? So you buy it from the store, or the, excuse me, Lumi, sorry. She's buying that pink. She buys it from the store, and she's able to use it right there. Although maybe she's not even using it. I don't even know. Oh, no, hold on. Yeah. But the red, she must have had already. Yeah. Here we see... Come on. Yeah. This... Wait. I thought they... Isn't there a part where they scroll down through the colors? Grr. Ah, this it? Yeah, no. Yeah. So bam, right there. See, this color of red is 10 plex, but this color of red is 35 plex. That's why it jumps up the value when she changes it to red. Yeah, that's the thing, is that while they are giving players the ability to make some pretty skins, they are also giving people the ability to make some pretty hideous skins. Which, of course, you know, like, this leads into what Josh Trafe Hayes always talks about, which is like, if you give players creativity in an MMO kind of environment, inevitably it'll become garish and kind of break immersion. But I think that at least for the second half of that, this isn't necessarily true because, as I've said before, like, we're immortal space gods, like, with the wealth of empires. If we want to do something ridiculous, then, you know, we're all crazy, right? Like, why not, right? So there's a lot of people that were asking about whether or not you could turn off other people's skins, so that way you don't have to look at their hideous colors. Two things about that. One, non-consensual visual stimuli. You know, it's a sandbox, so my ability to have an ugly skin and force you to see it is my Bob-given right. But also, like, as most of these people that are hubbing about not wanting to look at other people's skins are also probably the people that talk about how no one looks at their skins because they're zoomed all the way out. Just zoom all the way out. You won't have to look at their skins. Don't look at their ship. You won't have to look at their skin. Like the stream now, off to the past rag tag. Awesome. Well, we're wrapping things up, I think. They need to introduce a module that removes a target skin each cycle. Gosh, that sounds terrible. Well, no, because like literally that wouldn't work just by the rules of when you can skin and unskin your ship. Like, you can't skin your ship if you have something locked, or I think if something's locking you, you can't change your ship skin. Yeah, you can just set it to potato mode and see all of the skins get crushed down to their base color. And also, CCP did confirm that this was what the previous playtests were largely about on Sissy. Was, you know, as I speculated, they were likely testing the new systems because the old skins and the new skins kind of follow the same rules. So by having us play with older skins, they can still test the efficiency of having 1,000 ships on field with all different kinds of skins. Was this viable for capitals? Yes. The only ships that it won't be for are special edition ships. That includes Concord ships. So I assume it also means SSCT ships. The pod and T3 cruisers. I'm pretty sure it does include T3 destroyers. They haven't confirmed, like, they didn't say that specifically, but they said T3 cruisers, and T3 cruisers are rendered differently than basically any other ship. So it makes sense for T3 cruisers to be an exception. It doesn't really make as much sense for a T3 destroyer to be an exception. So I imagine that T3 destroyers will be able to be done. They've also said that they do want to, like, they're going to bring it to T3 cruisers, or at least they hope to, soon. No problem. So, as I was saying, thoughts, what kind of ship skins are you interested in? Are you interested in this? Are you going to become a Are you going to become a skin creator, a skin peruser? You know, are you? Has my explanations about Plex and Evermarks and its relationship to this been satisfactory? I think that Evermarks will be good to get special effects that apply on top of the skin, right? Kind of like Corp logos and Alliance logos. I'd rather see that, where it's like particle effects, trails, etc., be part of the Evermark side of things and apply instantly, so that way you can't sell it or trade it, and allow the skins to be something that's bought, sold, and traded, because there's a lot of creativity involved in that. Whereas with the logos and stuff, not so much. Now, here is my CC please, okay? Side note, when it comes to Corp logos and Alliance logos, if we're getting all of these amazing tools that lets us kind of customize the way that the ship works, what I would really like to see is the ability to customize where the faction and corporation logos are on the ship, right? Because some of the ships have really, really well-placed logos, and some of the ships, not so much, you know? Pure and simple ISK sync. I mean, yes, but it is the same exact ISK sync that the NES store is. They talked about that in particular? What, being able to move logos? I don't remember that at all. So the best example of this, Timerian pointed this out. So, if I spell correctly. This is the Paladin. If you get the logo for the Paladin, the logo goes, I believe it's right here in the back. Let me put it over here. Right here in the back. The problem with that is, if you happen to have the most expensive best skin in the whole game, Yule Festival YC121. Wait, no, they're up. It's up here in the front. My bad. So yeah, the Corp logo, or the Alliance logo, I think it is, goes right here in the front. Right here in the front, which is fine here. It's fine here. It's fine here. But this banner literally covers up the Alliance logo. It's kind of lame. So it'd be nice to be able to customize, you know, place it, because there's other examples too where, like, the Alliance logo's great, but sometimes the logo clashes with the skin in certain ways. And so, like, if there's a darker part of the ship, I'd like to put it there so that way it stands out better. But yeah, that's just my CC please. Hope they add pulse colors, like, to the green skin on the Paladin, I think. Yeah. Well, special effects like that would be really cool. Decals. That's the other thing I want, is decals. Like, a pattern is fine and projected on the whole thing, but like a decal, like a smaller logo, kind of like so here, like, you can see, like, this is the recolor, which they actually showed that the recolor will continue to bleed through the original modeling, or, you know, the camo print or whatever, which, I mean, you could set them to the same color, so make it go away. But, like, you can see, like, there's a certain color to this, but then this isn't a pattern. It's a decal, right? I want to see decals. There will... Wait, what? There'll be no SKINR for T3 destroyers in the beginning? Really? Huh. Okay, fair enough. Hello Kitty decal? Yeah. And, you know, I honestly think that a decal would be way better as a rare drop, right? Like, killing an Estimal and getting a special color, I don't think that that's actually that good, because, well, yeah, they don't transform. They have animations, but so does a lot of other ships. A lot of ships have warp animations or combat animations. So the fact that, like, the front pieces unfold on a T3 destroyer is no different than what an Ikki Tursa does when it's shooting, right? Like, it's a They should be the same level of complicated, in my opinion. But what I'm saying is that I think that if you're going to have very rare drops, it should be a decal or something like that, or even a pattern, because it needs to be something that when you see it, it stands out as being not the ordinary. If all you get is a different shade of red, like, wherein lies the prestige of that, right? Why would somebody else see that and be like, oh man, I want that? Or how would even somebody recognize that as like, oh man, that's that one particular color you could only get. That's a super rare color. You know, you can see super rare skins, but a super rare color isn't really going to do much. A pattern might be useful. But I think a decal like this would be the perfect thing, right? Especially if you could have multiple decals on your ship. Can you imagine like somebody's ship that's just covered in bumper stickers, basically, because they've gotten all these decals and they've put them on it? That'd be pretty cool. But we are outside the bounds of this expansion. So yeah, that's just my wish list. But all of this is coming in less than half a month, I think, at this point. It's the 11th of June, which is next month. We'll be getting all this stuff and being able to check it out. The other last interesting thing was my prediction for next week's dev blog was that it was going to be about the Vanguard playtest, because we have the Vanguard playtest right now. And so it makes sense that as soon as the Vanguard playtest was over, then they would talk about how much different the June one is going to be. 3 weeks from the past Tuesday. Well, okay, fair enough. So about half a month, a little bit over. But that's not what we're getting. What we're getting is a little bit interesting. What we're getting is an update to home fronts, right? Which is the home fronts were added in Viridian. They add like cooperative PvE stuff, 5-man cooperative PvE to HiSec. They're pretty fun. And they're really good ISK for people that are coordinating and whatnot. And they said that the dev blog next week is going to be tied to home fronts. Now, I don't know if this means that they're adding new home fronts. I hope they are. My nightmare scenario is the only thing they're going to say is, okay, now all of the home fronts are in all of the different areas of space. So now there's more home fronts to do. You know, right now, like, there's Galente home fronts in Galente space, Minmatar home fronts in Minmatar space. I really hope that's not what they're doing. I hope that we get new home fronts, interesting home fronts, and I'm pretty sure that's what it is, because they kind of made the home front system to do that. But it does mean that they're following up with home fronts, which is really cool. In addition to that, this also explains why we've been seeing in the lore like things like all this stuff about the Ashes of Turner, right? The Ashes of Turner is one of the factions that were introduced as one of the like foils for home fronts. So the fact that the Ashes of Turner have spread, that's one of the reasons why I was saying, like, I hope this isn't just, okay, well, now all of the sites are everywhere, because like what they've shown is now Ashes of Turner are operating outside of Minmatar space. So I hope that we don't just get Minmatar sites in Caldari space. I want all new sites. Get rid of the farmers. Look, not all home fronts are created equal, okay? Some of the home fronts are very, multi-boxable. Although I've always argued that if you can multi-box 5 people, you can probably make more money doing something else besides home fronts. I do, like, my biggest problem is that every time I try to do home fronts, there's always other fleets out there and it's stepping on them. And it's not even like they're botting. They're actually other players, not botting, but they're not multi-boxing, or most of the time. They're real players that are doing it. But like, if there's only one site at a time, like if there's only one raid site in Dodixie area at a time, then yeah, people are going to step on each other really, really quick. And it can be kind of frustrating and hard to coordinate or even, find an area where you're not stepping on somebody else. And that's kind of led us to, like, a lot of times if our home fronts are not successful, it's more to do with the fact that it's like, oh, somebody else is already running this home front. I guess we don't want to be jerks and fight over it with them. Let's go just do something else or whatever. So, if anything, I think that that's one of the biggest flaws with home fronts, but I would like to see more variety, and I would like to see maybe some of the other ones that are more farmable, maybe either have their rewards limited or they're changed in some way. But yeah. Also, does every single event thing in EVE Online have to be competitive? Yes. Because competitiveness is the, like, all of these things are just kind of excuses to drive interactions. And even though a competitive interaction is inherently a negative or hostile one, it still is the catalyst for actual interesting and memorable and meaning, events and meaningful friendships and bonds, right? So the fact that everything interconnects and everything is somewhat of a, you're competing with other people that are doing it, I think that that's intrinsic to the design of EVE. Now, there are things like the Abyss is not necessarily competitive, although the more people that are doing any particular type of Abyss, the rewards in it are worth less because more people are selling those same rewards. But yeah, a good example was emerging conduits, right? Where you could do it with one person, but you only got 1 times the reward, and up to 3 people got the same reward. So if you saw somebody already in a site, then, oh, that's a positive interaction, right? If you run into somebody else that's doing emerging conduits, you guys can just work together and you just do the sites faster and make more money collectively, because otherwise you were just leaving money on the table by running it by yourself, right? So that was a really good one. However, the problem is that the majority of the reward in that site came from the drop on the Zoria. So even though the payout for the site was given to everyone, and therefore it encouraged you to team up, the reward from the Zorias was not. And that was enough to make it so that people didn't want to team up, and it remained competitive, even though, theoretically speaking, you could do them faster if you teamed up with somebody. It would be interesting to see something that is purely cooperative. I guess you could say that Resource Wars was, well, no, because even then, like any given fleet finding the site, I think this is just the open world nature of the game. You know, the only thing that isn't competitive is the Abyss. And now that I think about it, like a lot of people say that the Abyss is a violation of the game because it breaks the sandbox. I say that that's not true, because you can still interact with the person as they come in and out of the Abyss. But it is true that it means that there is no competition for the site. No one can come in the middle of the site and attempt to take it from you. Yeah. But the thing is that the fact that there is competition is also the thing. It's part of the complexity of the problem, right? You know, the event sites are really easy. So the fact that they're hard to find is a part of it, right? Because it's not even about having a ship to run the site. It's about having a strategy for finding the sites, right? Like I have a particular place, often far-flung Mimitar space, where I like to farm event sites during events. I would not do that if I didn't have to compete over them, right? So, yeah, also things like, oh, well, I don't like people messing with, taking my sites in high sec. Well, that's a reason to do the sites in low sec or null sec, even though, like if you feel like you can defend it, then you can do something about it. So I think that, like, in order to create the depth that EVE Online has, it requires that additional level of complexity that that having the competition with other players, like that is kind of the engine that runs the interaction system of the game and thus the friendship machine. Yeah, well, so negative interactions actually leads to positive interactions, because people, this was a whole thing about the whole friendship machine, right? Like, collectively dealing with a negative situation is where bonds come from, right? Like if your guys get attacked, it may be miserable to have all your structures defended, but destroyed, but the act of attempting to put together defense and working together and doing what you can to try to protect your stuff, like even if you lose, this can be a huge bonding experience for all of the people involved. And this has been proven out to be a mechanism to build actual standing and long-lasting friendships that would not exist if we were all just kind of going after our own thing in purely selfish ways that didn't need each other, right? You can't take my industry jobs and station away from me either. Not everything needs to be directly conflictable. Yes, but what I can do is destroy the value of the thing that you're producing by producing it myself. See? There, and it's still a competition. I'm talking like the experience here questing in WoW, and there's a quest mob and another player comes along, they also needs it. And you are happy that they're helping. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like, it would be cool if there were some like interaction generators that are purely positive. And honestly, so that's really the problem, right? So home fronts are internally cooperative. I have to find 4 other people to come with me in order to get the maximum reward. If me and 3 of my friends want to go do home fronts, it behooves us to find a 5th person, even if it's a total random, in order to go and do it. And this has led to people doing exactly that, where you get like 3 or 4 people together, and then you post in the Homefront operations channel to get 1 more. And then, you know, these groups are formed naturally and organically. That's good. But there still is the external macro fight of this fleet is stepping on this fleet. So internal cooperation, external competitiveness. And again, this would actually be fine if there was an obvious solution to the problem, but it seems like they've toned down the spawning of home fronts a lot. So sometimes it's hard to find a single site, let alone, you know, a site that isn't going to step on somebody else, you know, the limited range of it too. Like, I really wish there was a better, like the discovery tools for home fronts were slightly better. I would prefer that over the, like, getting rid of the competitive nature of it. Because I don't think it's actually competitive. It's just a matter of, like, well, if I'm near Dodixie, I only see the 1 site, and I don't know where I need to go in order to find different Galente sites because I'm not within range of it. That's, I think, the biggest problem. Because I've even had things where I will message the other FC and I'll be like, oh yeah, are you going to be here for a little while? And they're like, yeah, we just got started. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, you guys can stay here. We're going to go head to Essence or whatever, you know? And so, you know, we get territories, but it's hard to do that when you don't know where everything is. All right. Well, either way, like I said it was going to be short, and now it's already been an hour and a half. So I'm going to wrap this up here. Like I said, comment below. Let me know what you think about the SKINR system. My rant. Do you think that this is a big problem? Did I miss something? Is there a reason? Please, please, if there's something that I missed, if there's a mistake that I made in my rant, please tell me what it was. I want to not be mad about this. Really, really bad. So let me know. But otherwise, I've been Ashtarothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012, and I'm here to put even to context for you, my fellow Empyreans. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you to all of my supporters, including V-Rod, Cruiser, and Bash, the Mad Lads that both donated 5 memberships before the stream even started. So thank you guys so much, and all of you who contributed and talked about, you know, like, helped me, contributed to the stream by just chatting in the chat, etc. And of course, any of you that like the stream or the video, you are my favorites. That is goes a huge way to getting the videos out there, getting my channel out there, which helps educate more people. I keep on getting every day people finding my Eve fitting master guide, or the returning to Eve watch this first, or my overview guide, or any of those others. They come to me and they're like, oh, all of this makes so much more sense. And these makes better pilots. And that's what this is all about, because Eve is a sandbox mostly, which means the quality of Eve, is the quality of the community, right? Better pilots make a better Eve. We want to raise the literacy of Eve pilots within Eve Online, so that way we have players making decisions, well-informed decisions. So a more exciting and interesting Eve for all. But all that said, I've been Ashrothi, the voice of New Eden. And until next time, I'll see you in space. Buy merch. Oh no, where's the outro? There it is.
Bring on the wrecking machine.
I unmuted the wrong thing. I apologize. Okay, so one last thing. There are 7 days left in the event. So if you aren't completed yet, please come to Dodixie and hook up with me. I moved it to another character, but I have filaments. I have the parts to make filaments. I have everything you need to be able to progress your skill track. If you are trying to get it done real quick, please hit me up. I want to help you get it done. I've been Ashrothi. Till next time, see you in space.
Bring on the wrecking machine. For every city